Welcome to the Alcohol Reset, the podcast that helps you reset your habits, health, and relationship with alcohol without judgment or extremes. If you're looking to cut back, take a break, or just understand how drinking can affect your body and mind, you're in the right place. Each episode brings you science-backed insights on neuroscience, nutrition, and habit change to help you feel better, sleep deeper, and take control on your terms. I'm Mike Hardenbrook, best-selling author, neuroscience enthusiast, and habit change expert. I've helped thousands through my book and podcast to rethink their drinking, and now I'm here to help you do the same. Let's get started. Hey everyone, welcome. You ever pause to think about the words we use, especially when we talk about needing a break? We have all these phrases, right? We're going to blow off steam or unwind, maybe hit the town. But the one you hear all the time, the one that really seems to stick is, man, I just need to let loose tonight. It's funny. We almost never say, I desperately need to escape my own head for a few hours. But if we're honest, the things we do, the drinking, the partying, sometimes just zoning out, a lot of that is fundamentally about escape, isn't it? The story we tell ourselves letting loose sounds way better than the reality, which is often just, I want to stop feeling this way. Stop feeling stressed or anxious or just overwhelmed for a bit. Now, the goal here today isn't about judging that feeling, not at all. That need for release, it's incredibly human. We all need that valve sometimes. But what we are going to do is unpack the psychology behind letting loose. Oh, why do we kind of sugarcoat our escapes? How do these temporary fixes become the go-to, the sort of social currency for hitting mute on our emotions? And really importantly, what's actually going on up here in your brain when you decide to just pause reality for a night? Because letting loose, it sounds fun, right? Harmless. But it can hide this deeper thing that maybe we're running from feeling overloaded. And look, if those quick escapes are the only way we know how to cope, well, they don't fix the root problem. They just hit pause. And if you hit pause often enough, well, eventually that pause button can feel like the only thing that works. So our mission today, let's try to move past just relying on pause towards real sustainable release, awareness. Okay, so first things first. Why does that moment, that letting loose, feel so good, so profound, even when we know it won't last? It's pure brain chemistry. Really, when you kick off an evening aiming to seriously unwind, especially if alcohol is involved, you're basically starting this chain reaction, a cascade of temporary chemical changes in your brain. And these changes are what give you that instant feeling of freedom. Let's break down three key ones. First up, dopamine. You get a big boost. Dopamine, it's a reward chemical. Motivation. When it spikes, boom. You feel great. This is fun. I want more of this feeling. Your brain is instantly rewarding you for the action you just took. Simple as that. Second, and this is maybe even bigger for stressed out folks, your GABA levels go up. Way up. GABA is like the main brake pedal for your brain, your inhibitory neurotransmitter. So when you increase GABA, everything just slows down. Anxious thoughts get quieter, that internal chatter, the mental to-do list, all those worries nagging at you, they get ruffled. It provides this real, although, synthetic sense of calm. And the third piece, lowered prefrontal control. This is where the uninhibited fun really comes from. Your prefrontal cortex, that's your inner critic's home base. It handles judgment, planning ahead, thinking about consequences, self-awareness, all that serious stuff. When that part of your brain gets quieted down, suddenly consequences, less important. Judgment fades away. You genuinely feel less inhibited, free, released. And that feeling, that immediate freedom, it is real in that moment, absolutely. But we all know there's a catch. It comes with a pretty hefty chemical price tag. The relief you felt, you basically borrowed it. Think of it like taking out a really high interest loan on your future sense of calm. Because as those initial chemicals, the borrowed GABA, the spiked dopamine start to wear off, your brain doesn't just, gently return to normal. Oh no. It tends to wildly overcorrect. Your nervous system, which was artificially suppressed, suddenly slams back into action. Overdrive, almost. And this chemical rebound, it triggers a spike in stress hormones. We're talking cortisol, mainly. So what's the end result of this big overcorrection? You often end up feeling more tense, more agitated, sometimes way more anxious than you were before you even started letting loose. That short-term relief gets paid for, usually with interest, often in the form of a pretty tense, maybe uneasy and definitely unproductive next day. We've all been there, right? Okay, so that brings us to a really important distinction. Escapism versus expression. Because the need to let loose, and again, that's not the bad guy here, we all need to shed stress. The real question is how we choose to do it. So there's false release, this is basically suppression, and then there's true release, which is expression, false release. That's any way you numb the feeling without actually dealing with it, without processing it. Think over drinking, just to quiet your thoughts. Or, mindlessly scrolling social media for hours on end, maybe overworking to bury stress from home. You're essentially just pushing the feeling down, hitting mute, suppressing that emotional volume knob. True release, though, that's expression. That's when you actively acknowledge the feeling and then you move it through your body somehow. This could be like dancing like nobody's watching, for real. Or having one of those deep, genuine belly laughs with friends. Maybe creating something, painting, writing, building, cooking. Or just having a really authentic, maybe even vulnerable conversation. And here's the key. Your brain totally knows the difference. That's why some nights out, maybe ones where you genuinely connected, laughed hard, moved your body, they feel truly restorative. You wake up feeling lighter because you actually expressed something, let it out. Whereas other nights, where maybe the main goal was just numbing out, those often leave you feeling kind of empty the next morning because you didn't really let go of the stress. You just paused it for a while. So the big challenge for a lot of us becomes, how do we truly let loose without losing ourselves completely to that chemical roller coaster and the inevitable crash? How do we stop just borrowing freedom and start, generating it from within? Well, the goal is really to swap out that reliance on the temporary chemical fix. Find something that gives you a similar but sustained sense of calm. Something without that harsh crash and the rebound anxiety the next day. We want to trigger that same calm response, that same quieting of the inner critic, but do it on her brain's own terms, naturally. This is actually something I looked into a lot when I was researching my book, No Willpower Required, trying to find ways to support the nervous system without, forcing it. If you find yourself often reaching for that chemical quick fix to unwind, it might be worth considering swapping that ritual. Maybe try ingredients that naturally help your nervous system decompress. Take, for example, the amino acid L-theanine. This stuff promotes what they call relaxed focus. It's interesting. It helps balance out your key neurotransmitters, subtly boosting both GABA and dopamine. So it helps quiet the anxious noise, but without totally shutting down your thinking. Calm without sedation. This is kind of the difference between slamming on the brakes like alcohol might do, and just gently easing your foot off the gas pedal. Much smoother. And then there's ashwagandha. You've probably heard of this one. It's a really powerful adaptogen. And an adaptogen's main job, helping your body adapt to stress, hence the name, ashwagandha. Specifically, it targets and helps regulate cortisol, that main stress hormone we talked about. It basically supports your body's natural ability to get back to a calm baseline after stress. Helps the whole system decompress on its own time. So when you start using tools like these, or maybe create new rituals around genuine relaxation, could be taking a long walk, focusing on deep breathing exercises, maybe using specific nervous system supporters, you start to relax, but you stay present. And you actually feel the relief being generated inside you. You're not just borrowing it from a temporary buzz anymore. You're building up your own internal reservoir of calm. This whole conversation is really important for anyone who hears themselves saying that phrase a lot. Ugh, I just need a drink to unwind. Or maybe feels like the weekends are their only real escape from the pressures of the week. So here's the final thought I want to leave you with today. Letting loose in itself. That's not the issue. What really matters is what we feel we need to let go of. What are we running from? If that temporary chemical fix is the only way you feel you can access freedom, well, maybe that isn't really freedom at all. It could be dependency, just wearing a disguise. But when you start creating new habits, new internal rituals, things that actually help your body and your brain relax on their own terms, that urgent, sometimes desperate feeling of needing to let loose, it starts to transform. It can become something more like genuine, sustainable peace. You stop needing to escape your life, and you start becoming more comfortable just being present right inside it. And that, I think, is truly the deepest form of release we can find. Something to think about. Thanks for tuning in. That's a wrap for today's episode. If you got something out of this, do me a quick favor, leave a rating and review on whatever podcast platform you're listening on. It helps keep the show going and would mean the world to me. Got ideas, comments, or questions? Shoot me an email at mike@trycloud9.com. I'd love to hear from you. And if you're looking for extra support, check out Cloud9, makers of Daily Restore, a once-a-day supplement to support your body from alcohol's effects, and Rise and Unwind AM/PM, a 24-hour combo to curb cravings, balance mood, and improve sleep when taking a break. Go to trycloud9.com and use the code PODCAST to save 15% on your next order. Thanks for listening, and I'll catch you next time.